I've never really been drawn to FMV games. I feel like I've always avoided them, but not out of contempt. 2 years ago, I found out about a game that my favourite creative director was looking forward to. I'd never heard of this other Sam, this Sam Barlow, before, but I gave this game a shot. This FMV game turned out to be a surprise hit for me. Immortality is one of the most authentic games I've ever had the honour of playing. Writing my notes for this discussion in 2022, I said that if there's only one game from this year I could recommend, it would definitely have to be Immortality. The reason I've chosen not to show you any footage is because you should really experience every scene for yourself. The main menu had an About section, so naturally I accessed that on booting up the game. It tells us about 3 movies that were never released, all of which starred Marissa Marcel, an actor described as more than just an enigma. After disappearing, she was largely forgotten except by dedicated film enthusiasts who'd theorized what happened to her to no avail. In 2020, 2 years before the release of Immortality, a large cache of film footage was discovered from all 3 of Marcel's movies. This footage is the basis for this interactive restoration to preserve her work. On starting the game, a disclaimer tells the player that the films are presented untouched or edited, reflecting the views of their times. The game goes on to say that this interactive restoration emulates the Moviola machines that would have been used to review this footage originally. This immediately introduced Immortality as a realistic experience, placing the player into the role of a film editor. I remember looking up whether Marissa Marcel was a real actor just 1 or 2 minutes into the game. The game presents itself as a genuine experience from the beginning, and I really got sucked into believing the backstory. In charge of the Moviola machine, the player is given freedom to spin the film reel with the analog sticks of their controller, rewinding and fast forwarding to pore over footage, the only goal being to find out what really happened to Marissa Marcel. To unlock more scenes, the game employs the use of a popular and established film technique, the match cut. If you've watched 2001: Space Odyssey, Twin Peaks, Raiders of the Lost Ark, hell, even Arrow, you'll be familiar with this. It's when you cut from one shot to another with the focus of the 2 shots being linked in some way. Select an object, any object, in Immortality, and the next scene will be based on that object. Match cuts are randomized based on the selected object, so you don't know what scene you'll be taken to next, only that it links in some way to that object. In some cases, there's confusion behind what links the previous scene to the next, but instead of feeling out of place, it just adds to the mystery. I found this mechanic to be very intuitive. You're an active participant in this experience, constantly trying to connect the dots, engaging with everything and everyone within the shot to instinctively follow threads and see where the leads take you. Looking at each shot in this way forces the player to gain an appreciation of how they were composed, which is really fun for a game that uses its shots effectively. Because you're given one scene at a time, scenes that you'll find yourself rewatching, you're going to be analysing everything in the frame far more naturally than you would in watching a movie or even a game for the first time, and in doing so, gain a deeper appreciation of filmmaking. Every scene has a purpose. Just like with movies, different people will have different interpretations of a scene, and this simple power of choice through the match cutting tool will lead people down different routes as they play the same game. There's a special kind of freedom in that. Nainita Desai's super soundtrack drags you deeper into the experience as you spend hours upon hours sifting through an intimidating amount of footage that never seems to repeat in the early stages of the game. Footage is unlocked solely through the match cutting mechanic, and I started with a single interview. This rapidly expands as you watch every scene you can find, analysing and building a whole network of connections in your mind. It's obvious that every shot looks great and has been thought about carefully, but it's more than that. The films are from 3 different decades, and this is seen most noticeably in the way that each scene of footage is framed within a set aspect ratio reflecting the time. Techniques of filming have evolved over the years, and this is something that attention is brought to time and time again in Immortality. Throughout the footage, you'll see what appear to be completely natural behind the scenes content, though of course every line is scripted so that even the clapperboard handler is an actor. Video clips include auditions of cast members, table reads, rehearsals of the lost movies, and more. The way you instantly believe what you're seeing, all of what you're seeing, is real, is something that's down to the sheer performance of every single cast member, the talented set design and production teams, and the fantastic writing. The game shows what goes into the group effort to make art, and it really did give me a greater appreciation of the industry. It's important not to understate the layered performance of Manon Gage, who plays the actor and characters portrayed by Marissa Marcel through decades of film, earning a nomination at the Game Awards. Though she did not win, her performance in Immortality cemented her as one of my favourite actors in the medium. Manon Gage is straight out of college, with these 3 films being her first credited roles, so it's unlikely that you would recognise her. She proves she has excellent acting chops, and seeing this unknown actor in the role of a missing actor makes this all the more believable. With the mysterious disappearance of an actor being the starting point, the player starts from a place of incomplete information, subtly giving them an urge to discover and fill in the rest with this non-linear narrative. There's a great sense of discovery felt throughout the game, with the player in the role of a detective. Instinctual, compulsive choices make it extremely easy to just keep thinking to yourself, just one more scene, until you check the time and another hour has passed. Immortality definitely gave me some late nights with its highly addictive setup. Perhaps a couple of hours through watching the clips, I was surprised to discover a new gameplay mechanic, though I had seen hints of its significance in previous clips. Why was my controller vibrating? This threw me further into the mystery and had me paying even closer attention to every scene. I'll admit, it took me a while to figure out how to use this mechanic. It was a bit fiddly, but I didn't have any issues once I realised it was a feature. I would definitely recommend playing with a controller. This was an experience that quickly became unsettling. There were many disturbing shots and I wanted to look away, but I knew that there would be links to the surrounding mystery, so I had to watch. With a horror movie, it would be a lot easier to just listen from behind a pillar, but because you're an active participant in this, you have no choice but to watch if you want to fit the pieces together. Many of the shots used in the game stuck with me, and without giving too much away, the way that cast members look at the camera with direct eye contact is deeply unnerving. I always find it scary when things could be real. The Weeping Angels and the Silence from Doctor Who, The Ring from Horror, and here in Immortality. Could I have put it down after a few hours? Credits rolled, but no, I really could not have put this down. I was too immersed in this experience. I really wanted to find all the clips of the lost works to have all the information available for theorizing and putting pieces together. In an age of streaming, this experience gives the player a chance to come across clips out of order and almost randomly, which harkens back to a time of flicking across TV channels. This is something that we're losing with the move to streaming. As much as Immortality is a brilliant mystery FMV game, it is a love letter to physical media and collaborative, human, artistic expression. Immortality transports players back to a time when they flicked through channels on TV, landing on some movies partway through their runtime, watching scenes out of context, and wanting to see the rest of the film. That's a popular 1990s Twin Peaks experience. It's nostalgic. After unlocking all of the clips, I think I sat and watched through each movie. You'll want the movies to be real. Even 2 years after playing the game, I think about this unique experience. It was unforgettable, and that's why I've not abandoned this project since I beat the game, even if I am late to the Game of the Year discussion for a game that came out 2 years ago. The team at Half Mermaid released a list of movies that inspired the game, and since then, I've slowly been watching my way through it. I love what this game did for my appreciation of film. Go and give it a shot.